So I recently did my annual visit to Daddy Doug in San Diego, Doug DeMuro, and it's very fun to go to his Cars and Bids HQ and see all of his friends that basically work for him now, and see, like, every year I get a snapshot of how everybody evolves in their relationships and how they grow closer. Doug put in a pool, and now he has all of his friends come over and swim with him every week, and they all swim together in bathing suits and eat dinner. So they play tennis together. And then they work together. It's very interesting how close his crew is, and it does come off as a bit of a cult, but really, I'm joking. They do swim together, but it's not a cult. They're just all a bunch of friends hanging out, selling cars on Cars and Bids. But it did lead to some conversations, a bit of hindsight on, things that I should have done differently. And Doug is a great example of one thing that I definitely should have done with my YouTube career is leverage it into some kind of business outside of YouTube. Take all these eyeballs watching you on social media and making it a business. And he did that with Cars and Bids and did an amazing job with it, obviously. Developing one of the biggest competitors to bring a trailer and actually selling it and taking a big check and being able to buy his house in Nantucket, do all of his things. One of the great success stories from YouTube and buy his dream cars. The Porsche Carrera GT, Countach, now his 993 Turbo, all those recent purchases. And for me, I couldn't think of a business. The one I think would have been hilarious is the opportunities in Kansas to buy a few dealerships. There was a Ford store I could have bought. There's also a Nissan dealership that went pretty cheap that I could have bought, or a Subaru store. And imagine me running a car dealership. If I hadn't given up my other car dealership or got a few partners together to buy a Nissan dealer or the Subaru dealer when it was struggling, and the content of me slinging Nissan Altimas, it would have been amazing. And I feel like I could have been the #1 Nissan dealer in the country, like bringing in people here to buy, a car from Hoovie or whatever. That may or may not have worked being a business owner trying to make a profit. That's the one thing about my persona is I constantly lose money on cars and I'm terrible at business in general. And so people kind of sympathize, I think, with me and like to watch me suffer and lose my butt on cars. So I'm not sure if that would have worked, but I really never came up with that big, great idea to leverage my social media into some kind of business that made money. So that's one big regret, I suppose, a VINwiki, if you will, some sort of idea. And instead, I just made dumb videos for 10 years. And obviously, I've done well. I can't complain, but I didn't take myself up to the next level like Doug DeMuro or so many others. Now, one thing that Daddy Doug likes to make fun of me for is my tax strategy, where instead of, paying quarterlies and paying my taxes, I accumulate a bunch of hoopties, and then I find out what my tax bill is, and then sell off a bunch of hoopties. It's a big sell-a-thon to pay my taxes, but it actually works for me because I have all of these cars for a longer period of time, and then I don't know how much I'm going to pay in taxes. My accountant kind of tells me, and then I sell what I need. So I have more time with my cars, I make more content from that, and I sell them off. It makes sense to me, it makes sense to others. But the one thing I do agree with, and the thing that I probably shouldn't have done, is keeping expensive cars for a very long time and chasing expensive cars that really don't make sense from a content standpoint. So, keeping an SLR McLaren for almost 4 years or an SLS for 3 years when all the videos are done and I could be moving on to something else new and crazy. It didn't make any sense to tie up money on an SLR McLaren that basically just sat in the background of videos for 3 years. And I could have experienced so many other cool and interesting cars, done the buy and sell, a lot more of that, and done better from a content perspective if I didn't just, vainly hang on to a bunch of exotics just so things look cool in the background. And that's something that I've changed a lot. So I've sold off pretty much all of my big fancy cars. I have the Gullwing, obviously. That is my one, vanity ultimate dream car, and I bought that. But otherwise, all the big stuff's gone. And it's not like I'll never buy a big car ever again. But I feel like as soon as I get the opportunity to sell, like with the SLR McLaren, I turned down $350,000 for it because I wanted to keep it. And then 3 years later, sold it for $275,000 because I felt like it was time to sell. So a lot of dumb decisions there. And something that I experienced along with other content creators is buying that $2 or $3 million car like Stradman with the Koenigsegg and having that $30,000, $40,000 payment makes no sense for YouTube. A Bugatti Veyron, the $15,000 payment makes no sense. I had that car for 6 months, and the videos that I made did well enough to pay for the $15,000 payments for 6 months, but I traded in a Countach and all that stuff to make it happen. It makes no sense. So the Gullwing, it makes sense because it's my ultimate dream car, something I've been working towards my whole life, but it makes no sense from a YouTube content standpoint. It is just purely me, self-gratification, and my vanity. And speaking of vanity, the other thing that I shouldn't have done from a YouTube business standpoint is build my ultimate dream garage on my personal property. So I put up this steel building, 6,000 square feet, to house all my cars, steps away from my front door, and it cost me about $400,000 to do. Pretty good for a 6,000 square foot building, beautiful lighting, all finished out inside, insulated, heating, air conditioning, 2 lifts, of course, all the big storage lifts that I have. But from a tax standpoint, you really can't depreciate any of that at all. You just basically spend $400,000 and it's gone. And from a resale standpoint, it's like putting a pool in your backyard. It adds no value to the house. Very few people are looking for a big shop building like that, especially when you make it such car-centric with lifts and all that stuff. So I didn't add much value to the house, just basically a totally sunk cost. And what I should have done is buy a commercial building, maybe something bigger, rent out some of it, and carve out part of it to be Hoovie's garage. And then I could have depreciated all of this and saved a lot in taxes. And the taxes, most certainly, that's what's kicked my butt in recent years, the mistakes with that, unfortunately. And that would have been much smarter for me from a business standpoint. And if I were doing it all over again, I would have had a normal house and not done the big crazy garage. And then if I ever wanted to get out of this building, there's a lot more uses for it. So now I'm kind of stuck in this crazy house with this crazy garage that's hard to sell and really no way out. Thank goodness I love the house, I love the garage, but it made no sense. It was just totally stupid, self-gratifying, and dumb. The dumbest automotive channel in all of YouTube. Obviously, I'm complaining a lot, but I am very grateful for what I have accomplished, what I've been able to do, and I am very happy overall. Would I've done some things differently? Obviously, yes, but I dumb lucked my way into a lot, and a lot of it's because of my audience just watching the pain and stupidity, and I'm forever grateful for that, because if I was doing this as a normal businessman, I would have crashed and burned years ago.
This month of VINwiki content is brought to you by Bridgestone, and the most exciting tire from Bridgestone right now is the brand new RE71RZ. That's their extreme max performance summer tire that is championing pole position. It's built for the grassroots motorsports crowd and offers much better on-track wear patterns than we saw out of the amazing RE71RS that it is now replacing. It uses Bridgestone's enlightened technology to deliver long-lasting performance and much more responsive control. And the RE71RZ is now available across North America in 45 sizes since December 31st of last year. This new tire meets all requirements for SCCA racing and will be eligible for competition use in 2026 for solo and time trials. This new tire is 0.74 seconds faster on a dry lap and 75/10 of a second faster in a wet lap compared to the outgoing RE71RS. This really is an amazing new sports car and supercar tire from Bridgestone, so check it out now, along with everything else that we love about Bridgestone at the link in the description below.